Hello class, welcome to lesson 20 where we are going to learn how to compare rates using words or compare rates only in word problems. Whereas we have been comparing rates when we've been given the rates, now we're given word problems. We have to find those rates to compare. So we will zoom in here so you can copy the first half and the second half. Might want to pause it now. Now we'll scoot down and you can pause to copy the second half, which is this. Alright, back on track for the lesson. By the end of this lesson, we should be able to compare rates when they are just written as a word problem. In order to do that, we need to find the unit rate, or also known as the value of the rate, by dividing. We'll zoom in here a little bit more for those on a small screen and take another look. So, in order to do what we're trying to do, we need to find, like always, the unit rate or the base value. We have been talking about that, and we remember that every unit rate, if we're looking for the unit rate, we have to have a denominator of 1. That's what we're looking for. So we want to turn our rate into a fraction and get that denominator to be 1. And here's how we are going to do that. But first we need to get rid of all this mess I made. All you do is you divide the y value by the x. Now I'm going to show you how to do it first, and then I'm going to show you why it works like that with something that you're already familiar with. So, for example, in order to do this, we're going to use our first example. So you go to the grocery store and you're buying 2 liters of soda. Coke is selling for $4 for 12 liters, and Pepsi is selling for $8 for 20 liters. And you want to know which cola is cheaper. Obviously, you're buying less here. You're buying $12 or 12 liters for $4. You're buying 20 liters for $8 here. There's a number of ways you could do this, especially because 4 is half of 8. But I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it and then why that works with something you're familiar with. And if you look back here at our task, we need to find the unit rate, or the value, which is the same thing, by dividing y divided by x. So let's go ahead and do that for our first example. So we have $4 to 12 liters is our first rate, and $8 to 20 liters is our second rate. So let's go ahead and find the unit rate for those. Whoops. Over here, a little bit of free space. So we have $4, which is our x, and 12 liters, which is our y. So let's take our y, and like we did here, divide it by our x. So 12 divided by 4. And hopefully you know that off the top of your head. 4 goes into 12 3 times with a remainder of 0, so 3. This is what we have. So that's going to be 3 liters for $1. So if we remember 3, we get rid of all this other stuff. Okay, $4 to 12 liters is 3 liters per dollar. And for our second ratio, we have $8 to 20 liters. So let's take our y value, which is 20, and divide it by 8. This one's not quite as simple, but remember we're talking about money, so let's do decimals. So 8 goes into 20 twice, which gives us 16 with the remainder of 4. And like I said, since we're talking about money, we're going to extend it using a decimal. So we bring down this 0, bring up our decimal there. 8 goes into 40 5 times, so 2.5 is really 2.5 liters per dollar. So if you're looking at these two, this is 3 liters per dollar, and this is 2.5 liters per dollar. So if we come back to our notes over here, we see that Coke is cheaper by 1/2 liter per dollar. Now here is a very common mistake that we might see. Obviously, when we divide the y by the x, we have 12 divided by 4, and we get 3. Now the 3 is the easy part. And down here, if we divide our y, which is 20, by 8, we get 2.5. Again, that's the easy part. But where it gets challenging is remembering what our units are. What is that 3? Is it 3 liters per dollar? Or is it $3 per liter? If this were flipped and it was, if this were $3 per liter and this was $2.50 per liter, then Pepsi would be the cheaper one. Now it's tricky to remember those units, so I'm going to show you what you've already learned in order to figure out what the units are and how to always have the correct units. So like I said in class, and I made us repeat it over and over and over, I said step 1, write the ratio. So our ratio is $4 to 12 liters, and since I said let's divide the y by the x, we can flip it. So we have 12 liters for $4. Okay? Now when I said step 1 is write the ratio, I said step 2, write your goal. So we need to figure out, we need to divide one of these by itself over here in order to get a final fraction with a denominator of 1. Okay, so we are trying to figure out how much $1 can get us. If we have a common denominator of 1 between both of the rates, we can compare what $1 will get us. So in order to get from 4 to 1, we have to divide by 4. If we divide the bottom by 4, we divide the top by 4. So 12 divided by 4 is 3 liters. And remember, I told you that this line means per. So this can be read 3 liters per $1. Okay, same thing if we want to test it out for the next one. Pepsi was $8 for 20 liters. So let's go ahead and put our 20 liters on top, our $8 on the bottom. So that was step 1, write the ratio. Step 2, write the goal. We want to figure out how much $1 will get us, how many liters. So in order to get from 8 to 1, we have to divide by 8. So let's go ahead and divide 8 on the bottom, and whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So like we said a moment ago, 20 divided by 8 is 2.5. And if we know that this little fraction bar in here is per, we have 2.5 liters per $1. So with Coke, we get 3 liters. With Pepsi, we get 2.5 liters. So our dollar goes a little bit further when we're buying Coke. If you recall, in class, I said step 1, write your ratio. So 12 liters over $4. Step 2, write your goal. How many liters can I buy with $1? And at this point, you can fill in the rest. How do I get from 4 to 1? Divide by 4. Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So we know that this question mark is actually 12 divided by 4, which is 3. I hope that helps. Those of you listening at home, be ready to come on in tomorrow and have this problem done. We'll be looking at it right away.